50,000 descend upon Glasgow as the fate of a nation lies in the next couple of days' time. Scotland face Israel in what is an incredibly important World Cup qualifier, and this is the state of Scottish football on a Friday evening, and we will be previewing the game tonight. I'm delighted to be joined by Grant and Dave to look forward to what is probably the 500th edition of Scotland versus Israel over the last couple of weeks, at least. But I actually think we are just one member short. Hi, Colin.
Hello.
How's it going? The Tartan Army never leave a man behind, and yet here we are.
Better late than never.
So we are here today on Friday evening to preview the big match tonight. Let us know what your thoughts are. Who should be starting for Scotland as Steve Clarke looks to name a side to follow up with the 1-0 victory over Austria. Israel is an opponent that we've faced several times before. What can we do different? We have not won since November 2018 against them. Hampden Park, as you said, is going to be full. How much of a difference will that have on the occasion? And we will also be having a quiz later on at 6:30 to see how much these gentlemen here know about Scottish football. But as always, we're live on Facebook, we're live on Twitter, we're live on Twitch, we're live on everywhere that you can find videos, apart from them ones that Grant seems to find on a Friday night. But we are delighted to be live. Grant, I'll come to you first. The anticipation around the country's building, and I think it's all came from that fantastic performance away in Austria. The people are believing that the Euros might just not be a one-off.
Well, thanks first of all, Colin, for outing me at the start there. That's just fantastic for a Friday night batter. I'll have to try and find a response to that. It's superb, isn't it? It's basically a cup final for Scotland tomorrow night. You know, it's probably our biggest game, I would say, for many years. You look back on some of the big games we've had in the past, obviously Serbia very recently, but then you're going back probably right about to the days of when Walter Smith was manager, and Alex McLeish, you're going back to those sorts of days. So it's going to be a massive occasion tomorrow night. I'm extremely nervous already. I'll tell you, my hands are absolutely shaking sitting here. But I'm looking forward to the game.
That's only because I just outed you, Grant. That was the only problem.
Well, that's very true. I am very nervous about the game. I don't know about the other guys, but it's going to be a very interesting game. It'll be a very nervy game, I think, but hopefully we can do it.
Yeah, and Colin, it's a pleasure to actually be joined on a broadcast by you. Obviously, it's your first week here on the State of Scottish Football, and 1 week in, and we're already looking forward to a World Cup qualifier. What's your thoughts ahead of the game tomorrow night?
Really looking forward to it. I think there's an optimism. I think there's, as you said, there's an expectation now as well. Having that crowd back as well at Hampden's going to make a huge difference. I think, as we kind of touched on last night, I think there's a huge opportunity to get the win that we need to potentially then go 4 points in front. 4 points is a big gap at this stage in the group, and there's no reason why I don't think we should be going out for that win, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be coming away with that 3 points as well.
Dave, that seems to be the sort of general optimism across the country. I mean, when you look at it, we've not beat Israel since the heroics of David Marshall, but yet everyone just seems to be on this train that there's a way to do it and we'll find that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Steve Clarke's got a tried and trusted approach, which I think works absolutely to a T, because, I mean, the Austria performance and the Austria result will go a long, long way to boosting the confidence among Scotland fans. And I think the good thing about tomorrow is there'll be a familiarity about Israel. Of course, we've not, as you say, beaten them since 2018, but I feel there's a familiarity just on the basis of we've played them tons of times before. And also the added bonus of that is the fact that we've got a sell at Hampden tomorrow, which is a massive bonus, and it'll probably be a 12th man for Scotland tomorrow.
Yep, that's certainly for sure. Before we go any further, we do have to announce that we are sponsored by Etiv Watches, and if you go onto the Etiv website, then you can save yourself 15% off some lovely watches, just like this one I have here. Maybe with Christmas just round the corner, it's worth sponsoring, or I say sponsoring, you can sponsor us if you want, but it's maybe worth treating someone special in your life. I tried to put those two words together and absolutely failed. It must be a Friday. So, looking ahead to the big game, if you are going to put some money on the game, as always, gamble responsibly. But here is the breakdown ahead of Scotland versus Israel. Scotland go into the match as favourites at 9-10. The draw is 23-10, and you can get Israel for 16-5. Over the 6 qualification games that Scotland have played so far, they've picked up 11 points. That's wins against Austria, Moldova, the Faroes, draws against Austria and the team we're facing on Saturday in Israel. Israel are a point behind in third place with 10 points after 6 games. They have had some heavy defeats, including the 5-0 defeat away at Denmark, but they've also had some big wins like the 5-2 win over Austria, 4-0 against the Faroes and 4-1 against Moldova. Now, when you look at that, Grant, they are a team that know how to score. They've scored 5 against Austria, who arguably everybody thought would be the second biggest team in the group. They've scored 4 away at the Faroes, they've scored 4 away at Moldova. This is a team that Scotland's got to be careful of, because if we concede, we've got this sort of habit of struggling to get back into games.
Well, absolutely. And, we all know too well Zahavi, who I know Ian Crocker has mentioned numerous times on Sky Sports commentary matches. The guy knows how to score goals. He's playing, obviously, in a very good league in the Eredivisie for PSV Eindhoven. So he's going to be a real threat. But there's not just him to worry ourselves about. You obviously have Suleiman as well, who is a real talent, and I thought was really the winner of that game in that match against Austria out in Israel. I thought he was really, really good. Obviously, you have De Boer as well, who has been going really well. In the Bundesliga, he's a really talented player as well. They're a good side, Colin. There is no doubt about that. But you know what? It is, as I said earlier on, it is a cup final, and Scotland must treat this game as an opportunity to, as Colin alluded to, go 4 points clear, but also in some ways put them 1 foot out of trying to qualify, because it is a massive opportunity for us. That momentum that we got off the back of the Austria result, the confidence and the positivity that it's given a nation. Let's try and see this job through.
Yeah, and Colin, there's certainly some familiar faces to Scotland fans. You see, obviously, Ophir Marciano in goals. We could see Lil Abada, the Celtic winger, and the kind of pantomime figure as well in Nir Beaton. So Scotland are actually getting to know a lot of these Israeli players, not only just from playing them every week, but from seeing them play in the Scottish Premiership. Do you think that gives some of those players an advantage when they're coming up against Scotland? It's a fact of like, well, we've been here, they've settled into the climate, they know what to expect. So even if it is 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon and the heavens open, it's not as if it's going to be a benefit to Scotland.
I think you could look at it in another way and say that because they're so well known, we shouldn't be scared of any of them. We know their games, we know how they play, particularly at their clubs that you've mentioned there. So again, it's all about the fear factor. There shouldn't be a fear factor now. The key thing for me is that crowd making that noise, making it an intimidating place again, like it used to be down the years. I know obviously for the last couple of years there hasn't been any crowds, but make it noisy, make it difficult for them to dictate the play. I think early on, first 10-15 minutes, if we can get at them and get stuck in, as the old Scottish phrase is, just get in their faces and really intimidate them and stop them from playing their game.
I've got to ask, and I'll put it out to everyone, this is maybe the biggest Scotland game in a World Cup qualifier since when? What would you say? What would your answers be?
I would say Italy.
Yeah,
Italy. So this, I mean, we're talking about going back as far as 2006. So that shows how far we have to go to be in a state where, as I think it was Colin yourself mentioned it earlier, we're 2 wins away potentially from getting a playoff space. And we've got the opportunity after these games. We play the Faroes, we play Moldova away, teams where you expect Scotland should at least pick up the 3 points. And I'm saying at least because I think they should go out even to the likes of the Faroes and put 4 or 5 past them. But this is the bogey one out of the next 3 games.
Absolutely.
And if you look at it, the last 5 games against Israel, the 1-each draw earlier on in the campaign where Ryan Fraser pulls one back. Again, the Nations League, where we seem to always draw with Israel. We lose Solomon, as someone quite rightly pointed out. David Marshall's penalty heroics in the Euro 2020 qualifiers that came off the Nations League. And you have to go back to November 2018 and that 3-2 win over Israel at Hampden, where James Forrest scores a hat-trick. Now, we're not going to be with Forrest for this game, Dave, but when you look at the options that Steve Clarke has to him, there's certainly a lot of attacking outlets there, and whether they start or they come off the bench, this is one of the strongest Scotland squads we've had for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing as well is there's a sense of loyalty and a degree of loyalty as well. It's not like recent Scotland squads in the past under Alex McLeish in particular, where we did have strong players in individual positions, but there just wasn't a togetherness about them. With Steve Clarke's squads, there's a togetherness about them, and that's got to be a major positive because I mean. In terms of strikers, they're maybe not the biggest and best of strikers on a club basis, if that's putting it politely, but you've got the likes of Shea Adams, the Lyndon Dykes, that for country perform a terrific partnership with each other. And in my honest opinion, Lyndon Dykes and Shea Adams are going to be vital the way Scotland play tomorrow. You've also got Billy Gilmore, and Grant touched upon it in the show last night, where Billy Gilmore's a player that isn't exactly start the season well with Norwich, but when I say not start the season well, I mean that in terms of a team appraisal rather than an individual appraisal, because you look at it and say Norwich haven't started the season very well. Billy Gilmore's a massive part to the way that Scotland team playing. If I just go back and go a bit more defensive for a minute and say that Scott McTominay's got a vital part to play tomorrow in my honest opinion, because you've not got Grant Hanley. McTominay's a very big ball-winning player. He's very good at ball playing. He'll be massive to the way Scotland play tomorrow. You've also got outlets Robertson and O'Donnell. Yeah, O'Donnell's not exactly the most attacking players, but you've got Robertson that can go do the more attacking play, whilst you've got O'Donnell that can do the more defensive side of things. So the main thing for me is we have a balance, but also we've got, as you say, an attacking outlet that's going to result in goals. And we'll probably have a fighting Callum McGregor again, and then we'll have John McGinn again. And John McGinn obviously had coronavirus and is looking like being back to his very best again. So it all bodes well from a Scotland point of view. And if we can go and get a goal early doors tomorrow, I think I can always see one team going on to win this come 6:45 tomorrow evening.
So we are, as we said, live on all of the platforms previously mentioned, and if you are watching along, do comment and we'll bring your comments up, just like we have here with Hunter Matt, who is giving his team. He's went with McLaughlin, Patterson, Henry Cooper, that would be a good centre-half. Some people out. KT, Robbo, McGregor, McGinn, Gilmer, Nisbet and Christie. So I will reach out to you guys for your teams, so think about that over the next couple of minutes. But what do you make of Hunter Matt's team, Colin?
It's some interesting selections. To be honest with you, if I was looking at mine, Christie was in the back of my mind if he was going to play up front, either with Dykes or with Adams. But I've gone with Adams and Dykes. I think, as you touched upon earlier on, there is so many attacking options that we're almost kind of over blessed with players to pick from. I would certainly maybe question the goalkeeping selection, but apart from that, it's a fairly decent team.
And you mentioned there about Lyndon Dykes. This was going to be one of the talking points I had written down here. When you look at it, Scotland tend to either go with the two up top or they go with one number 10 playing off the striker. It's going to be very difficult to drop Lyndon Dykes, having scored the 2 goals in the 2 games over the last international break. But does he offer enough mobility to play off of Che Adams, or are you going to have to... Is the point I'm making here, is the decision going to have to be Dykes or Adams, or is it going to have to be Dykes or Christie or Dykes or Fraser? Because it always seems to be Lyndon Dykes is the one that's kind of sitting on the fence, Grant.
I just think that Dykes is in good form, as you mentioned there, not just for Scotland, but also for Queen's Park Rangers as well. I think he was involved in a really good goal last weekend where he just bullied his way through 2 or 3 challenges in setting up that goal. And one thing you do get with Dykes is he does put a shift in. I mean, it is a very interesting conundrum because Christie has proven on numerous occasions that he can be a big match winner. Of course, he did score that very big goal, of course, in Serbia not too long ago, let us not forget. But I just think that Dykes and Adams have that partnership. We saw it really blossom out in Vienna. And I just think it would be a little bit nonsensical in some respects to displace that. You know, I think it's really important that we have some form of continuity in the team. And I think having those two just gives that bit of balance. And let's say it's not working after an hour. Then you maybe bring Christie on and try and change something up. But it's an interesting conundrum. But, you know, I like Dykes. I think Dykes puts a real shift in. Yes, maybe he doesn't have that mobility, but I think he's got other attributes that I think will serve us well tomorrow night, if selected, of course.
And to be honest, this is the first time I think Steve Clarke's really had that sort of kind of problem, and it's a good problem to have, is having so many good players available for selection. You take a look at the back line, obviously we're going to be missing Grant Hanley through suspension for this game, so the question is there, who comes back in? You saw Scott McTominay playing in central midfield for Manchester United and playing there pretty comfortably. What do you lose if you take him out of the Scotland midfield? You've also got guys like Declan Gallagher, who's been in and around the squad but hasn't really had the opportunity at Aberdeen. And then you go for someone who I think Steve Clark's really enjoyed having in part of his squads, is Scott McKenna. So you're looking at it, I think Hendry's an automatic pick because of the way that he's been playing. Tierney's always going to play in there. It's that last central defensive option, Colin, that it's either you go with the experience of someone like McTominay who's playing out of position, or you go to someone like McKenna. And I'm not sure, depending on who plays in the midfield, who plays where. I'm glad I'm not making this decision tomorrow night.
I think you're right in what you're saying. I think it depends on how he goes with it in his midfield will dictate who he's going to play as that third centre back. I think McTominay will play at centre back. It just allows either McGinn, Gilmore, and McGregor to play in the midfield. That's who I would have. And I think just McTominay just gives you that extra ball playing ability as well from the back. I think this is the kind of game where we can be as open as we can. Get the full backs as high as possible, and he can give you that extra protection as well in that midfield if you need to. So I would go with him, but I think somebody like McKenna would obviously be a good shout as well.
I mean, as I say, there's so many different options, and if we stay in the back line here, the last one that I'll put out to you, Dave, is the right back. Now, we've not seen when both Patterson and O'Donnell have been available this season who Clark will go with. At both times during the last international break, one was missing either through COVID, through suspension, whatever. When it comes down to it, you're looking at someone who, and Nathan Patterson is probably the future in the Scottish right back position, or does he go with the tried and trusted and his own love child, which is Stephen O'Donnell? And for me, if you're going to be attacking from the word go, I would have Patterson in there. If you're thinking that you're going to have to protect your back five, then O'Donnell goes in there. It depends on how Scotland set out to play tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually forgot about Nathan Patterson when you asked me the last question there. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, O'Donnell and Patterson offer two completely different variations to the Scotland lineup. I mean, O'Donnell is your defensive stability. And I've said it, and many other pundits and contributors on this show have said it. Stephen O'Donnell defends and does nothing else. He's a terrific artist when it comes to defending, and that's it. He won't exactly. I mean, he had a brilliant chance at Wembley, if I remember correctly, and if I'm not mistaken, and he was through and goal Austria as well.
Yeah.
So it does show that his attacking instincts in the grand scheme of things, but also Nathan Patterson, as you alluded to, shows a lot more attacking pedigree about him. And if I was in Steve Clark's shoes, I'd be playing Nathan Patterson tomorrow, just because he offers that attacking instinct, but also he could balance that out with doing a bit of the dirty work at the back as well, just in the sense of if Israel do attempt to exploit the Patterson's side. Patterson has the pace and the agility to get back and make sure we're avoiding any potential exploitation first and foremost, but also any potential chances that could lead to goals. Because I mean, as I alluded to, the first goal is going to be vital tomorrow, and if we want to go out lightning from the start, Nathan Patterson will need to have a solid start to the game, but also get on to Israel quick, because Israel aren't exactly the greatest team at the back, and you've alluded to it there. Israel are capable of scoring goals, but they're also capable of conceding goals as well. And Nathan Patterson's got an influential part to play tomorrow if Scotland have any hopes of success tomorrow. But if he goes for Stephen O'Donnell, fantastic, good as well, because he offers that defensive stability. But for me, Nathan Patterson's got to get the nod tomorrow.
Grant, I'm just going to bring this point up before I come to you, and it comes in from Hunter Matt again, just saying Clark's anti-football kills the talent that we have. Now, I've seen this argument several times before.
I think that's harsh.
I've seen the argument, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? You look at that team that we're potentially going to put out. You look at the team that beat Austria. That wasn't exactly expansive attacking football. That was pretty much route one, and we've done that several times under Clark. Now, it wasn't until maybe 3-4 weeks, 2-3 games ago when we lost to Denmark and we struggled against Moldova, where a lot of people asked the question whether Steve Clarke was the man to take Scotland forward.
Agree.
Now we're going into this game and we've got this idea that they're going to play some expansive football. We're talking about Patterson going down the right-hand side being exploitive, Robertson down the left-hand side. We can't pick a striker because both of them are great options. The formation's going to be the big one here as well, depending on how we set up to play, because you can have 11 Messis on the park, but if you don't set out the team right, you're not going to get that sort of football that you're looking for.
Completely agree, and I think the anti-football comment is extremely harsh. Listen, I don't care if we win with a 94th minute winner off someone's bum tomorrow night. I just want us to win the game, full stop. I think the strategy and the tactics that Steve Clarke has served up in the Austria game served us well. He learnt off the back of the Denmark game. That was a poor performance that night. We got it all wrong. We really missed John McGinn that night, missed his energy in midfield. In the Moldova game, yes, we only won it 1-0, but I don't think we played badly that night. It's Steve Clarke can pick the team, but the guys have still got to put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, how many chances did we want to add to that 1-0 lead? I mean, I can think of guys like Christie, Gilmore missed his chance, didn't he? Nisbet missed a couple of good chances. I thought we played well in that Moldova game, but we just didn't put the ball in the net, apart from the goal that Dyke scored in the first half. And in the game against Austria, you go away from home in these World Cup or European Championship matches. You've got to sit in and do your defending. Winning away from home in any European game internationally is very, very tough to do. Scotland have not had a big away result for donkey's years. And, in terms of big away performances, where are we going back to 2013 against Croatia or something like that? And we were probably out of the group by then. So I think that the situation that Clarke has set up himself at the moment is working. It was the same at Kilmarnock. He was pragmatic, but he got results. I know in football, right, there's ways to win matches. But in my opinion, you've got to start by being solid defensively. Craig Brown, in my opinion, was one of the best Scotland managers of all time growing up. And one of the best things I always said about Craig Brown was he made Scotland so tough to beat. Steve Clarke has moulded that Craig Brown mantra in some respects into his management. And I think so far it's served us well. If we can get through this campaign, then he can maybe start to open it up a little bit. But what I will say is I think the strategy and the tactics that Clarke has set up so far have on the whole been positive. Yes, there's been tough matches, but he's got big results. That Austria game has given ourselves a massive, massive chance. And I think a lot of people say, Clarke is too negative. I'd say I'd rather he was like that than try to be all guns blazing and we lose the game 3 or 4-1. It's a fine line he treads.
It is a very difficult balance that he's having to strike here, and I think one of the players that's key to that, though, and it will be key to the way that the midfield plays tomorrow night, is someone who's come through over the last 12 months and has really staked his claim to be a number 6 going forward for Scotland for the next 10-15 years, and that's Billy Gilmore, Colin. And the kind of experience that he shows beyond his years is outstanding. And for me, I know he's playing down at Norwich this season. If he doesn't get the game time at Chelsea, he has to move away because the boy's got a talent and he needs to be playing football week in, week out.
I think his performance at Wembley against England just kind of shows you the kind of player that he is, how well he did that night. The fact that he's got to Norwich to get himself game time, for me, is a good move. It might not be the right club. I think he might have been better off at a club slightly higher up in the Premier League. It's obviously a choice between him and Chelsea, I guess. But I think if he stuck at Chelsea this season and didn't get the game time, I think you'd be then questioning whether or not he deserves to be in a national team or not. But I think because he's playing regularly, as the guy said earlier, maybe not playing in a team that's playing well, but for him, it's all about getting his game time, getting that confidence up, and playing well. And you never know, go back to Chelsea next season and start playing well for them as well, and get a regular spot for them. And that's only going to take him further. It's going to take the Scotland national team further as well, because obviously he's going to be the star man. He's going to be the main man, as you said, Colin, for years to come.
It's interesting you mentioned about the kind of playing time that he needs to get to be part of the team, because someone who hasn't been getting a lot of playing time but is involved in the squad, Dave, is Stuart Armstrong. And for me, I think he offers a lot of experience in what you kind of look at could be a young Scotland team going into this game. but he also offers that different dynamic that he's someone who can play off the striker, he's someone who can sit deep, he can play wide. He's just a different option for Scotland. And as long as he just clears the ball from the edge of his box and doesn't try to play out with it, he's a good option to have in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel he's playing the best football of his career at the moment. I mean, he's been a different player under Harrison Hoult at Southampton at club level, and under Steve Clarke at Scotland. As you say, he offers a different dynamic, because what Armstrong's good at is he's good at getting behind and helping the defensive players in the team. But also he's good in terms of bombing forward and exposing defenders and getting opportunities at goal. I mean, he's scored some important goals for Scotland over the years, and he offers that different side to Scotland. Yeah, there's the negative side of things as well, and I completely acknowledge and understand that, but there's also the other aspect of this to say Scotland would be better off with Stuart Armstrong in the team rather than a more younger contingent in the team. I mean, the younger contingent coming through are fantastic players and justifiably so, but Stuart Armstrong does offer something different. And what he also offers is he offers that midfield pedigreed other midfielders don't. He's a different player altogether, like a John McGinn, for instance. And that's only a major positive from Scotland, from both Stuart Armstrong and Scotland's point of view.
I'm just going to bring one comment up, and then I'm going to go to each of you for your team predictions and the scoreline tomorrow night. But this one comes in from Laura Bradburn. Assuming a win tonight, what's your guys' thoughts on us making Qatar now? I think if you get the 3 points tomorrow night, you only need maybe another 4 to guarantee that playoff spot, and the playoff spot can be very difficult. The top of the table is definitely out of reach. Denmark are flying well above. But I think even just making the playoffs is a success out of this group. What's your thoughts on that? I'll start with Grant and go around the circle.
I think I agree with Laura's comment. I think it's important that we try to get into the playoff spot, and then it's all on the draw. There are some good teams in some of the pots at the moment, but there's some definite teams that we can certainly have a go at. I think you'd want to avoid maybe a Sweden if they finish second in their group, or maybe some of those teams. I think Norway could be a potential banana skin, because I think they're in Turkey's group, aren't they? But there's also nations there like Armenia who have really surprised a lot of teams. That might be one to sort of keep an eye on. There's also a couple of others as well that wouldn't fear me. I mean, Romania might be an interesting one, but we've got to get there first, and that's obviously the long and the short of it. But I think with confidence high, the positivity of a nation hopefully coming behind as well. Get behind the guys, get behind Steve Clarke, and just let's make it a good atmosphere at Hampden tomorrow night, and let's just get part of this job done tomorrow to give ourselves the best chance of finishing second in this group.
David, what do you think? Scotland for Qatar?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if we can win, there's a host of permutations still to take place here. Let's stress that first and foremost. But I mean, if we can get the win tomorrow, we're halfway there as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I'll use a Carl McGregor expression here. Apologies, guys, but I'll use a Carl McGregor expression here by saying I think it's a must not lose game. As much as I ideally want Scotland to go win this game tomorrow, it's a must not lose. And if we can go and win tomorrow, we're well on our way, because I mean, we've got Faroes. We've got Moldova, 2 assignments in there that you'll be looking at and going, should be 6 points on the board. So win tomorrow, and I think we're there.
Just to comment on David's point there, and I should have mentioned this earlier on, it's not job done if we win tomorrow night. We still have to take care of the Faroes and Moldova in that next 2 games coming up. And, they're not bankers. You've still got to get there and do a professional job. We've struggled against Moldova in the past. How often in the past have we tripped up against nations like Georgia and Lithuania and teams like that? So we have to be conscious of that tomorrow night. We've got to concentrate on the here and now, and we've got to do the Ranieri. We've got to take it one game at a time. That's what he did so well when he was manager at Leicester. You've got to take it one game at a time. We can't look too far ahead. Tomorrow night is huge, but then we have to. If we get the result, then we can think of the next game.
Tomorrow night is huge, Colin, but Qatar is on the radar for Scotland. Do you think it's something that we can achieve?
Grant's just taking my point there. I think what we need to do is just
sorry, Colin.
just take it as he says, one game at a time. Because the last thing we want to do is big ourselves up in typical Scottish fashion and then fail miserably right at the end. So yeah, let's get this game done with first. Let's get the 3 points, and then we'll take it from there. Because as you said, anything can happen in a playoff. You're so close, but you will know what can happen in a playoff if you're a Scotland fan.
So I'm going to go through my team for tomorrow night. and give you my prediction. I'm going to go with Gordon in goal, a back five of Stephen O'Donnell, Scott McTominay, Jack Hendry, Kieran Tierney, and Andy Robertson. A midfield three of Billy Gilmore, Callum McGregor, and John McGinn. And I'm playing Christie off of Adams. And I fancy Scotland to win 2-1. Who's up next?
I could go next if you want, because I only have the one change to you, Colin, and that is Dykes instead of Christie. I have been swithering on this. Very similar formation. O'Donnell and Robbo as wing backs, with Gilmore and McGregor sort of sitting, allowing McGinn to play in that sort of number 10 role, with Dykes getting up there to support Adams. We know Adams has got the pace, but Dykes can have that physicality and can knock the ball down for Adams or others like McGinn to kind of break from midfield. I think it'll be nervy tomorrow night. I think one goal will be the difference, and I'm going for 1-0, and hopefully Meatball can get the winner. Come on, John McGinn.
David, many changes from that side that Grant just picked?
Not really, to be honest. Gordon in goals, McTominay, Hendry, Tierney will be the back three. So I'm playing a 3-5-2. Midfield of Patterson, Gilmore, McGregor, and Robertson and McGinn, sorry. And then the two strikers of Dykes and Adams. Clean sheet, 2-0 Scotland.
Ooh.
I like the confidence, Colin. Can you continue this? Are we going for 4 Scotland victories?
We certainly are, and the team selection is pretty much the same as I think it's bang on the same as what Grant's was as well. Dykes and Adams up front, Gordon in goal, back three Tierney, McTominay and Henry, Robertson, O'Donnell, Gilmore, McGinn, and McGregor, and I'm going 2-0 as well.
Well, a lot of optimism. Let us know who you would pick in your squads. I'm kind of swaying, as I said. The two that I'm in between is whether Patterson plays over O'Donnell. I just think he goes with the tried and tested there, and then does he go with the two up front? If he goes with the two up front, I can see Dykes playing. If not, I think Christie will maybe play in that role. Another person that we never even mentioned that has been in a bit of form that may come into it is Ryan Fraser as well. Scotland have a really strong bench to turn to tomorrow night, and that could be the difference between the draw and the victory. Well, fingers crossed.
Sorry, Colin. Sure, Ryan Fraser's got a bit of confidence from this Newcastle takeover.
Well, I don't know if he's got a better confidence, but he might have a healthier bank balance by the end of the week.
That is very true.
So that is our predictions for the Scotland-Israel game. As I said, you can put yours in the comments, but we are halfway through the broadcast and it is now time. During this international break, we like to change it up a little bit, and we are going for the big Scottish quiz of the season so far. There's going to be 3 rounds in this quiz. I'm going to be your quiz master, and we will have 3 contestants right here. So we have Grant, we've got David, and we've got Colin. I'm going to trust you all that you don't do any Googling, you don't read the comments, and you don't do anything else. So this is coming down to see who actually has the true knowledge. We're going to have 3 rounds. The first round is going to be a general knowledge on Scottish football. The second round is going to be on the season so far. And then the third round will be a guess the year. So
for God's sake.
Should be fun. Well, when I say guess the year, it'll be more guess the season. So, question number 1. Celtic Park has the biggest capacity in Scottish football, but which team has the smallest capacity across the SPFL? So we're looking for who has the smallest capacity at their stadium across the top 4 leagues.
Is this a Premiership or any?
Top 4 leagues.
Oh, okay, smallest.
Ooh, sure.
Albion Rovers.
You're to write it down, David.
He's getting ahead of himself already. Come on.
Now, whether you boys trust that's the right answer or not is up to you.
I haven't wrote anything down yet, but I'm trying to think of an answer. Okay.
I'm giving you another 5 seconds, and then we'll move on.
I don't think this is right. Okay, right. That is a stone cold guess. I'm no clue.
Okay, question number 2. How many of the current Scottish Premiership teams have never been relegated? DJ of choice coming in to say that you boys are Googling now. I'll need to...
Hey, absolutely no guilty. My phone's down here. I am taking this very seriously.
I hope so. I hope so. I spent a lot of time on this.
Yeah.
Okay, we
And
get
what,
question.
not any heading for no points. Here we go.
It'll just be like the UK at the Eurovision.
Very true.
Scotland qualified for the Euros this summer. This is question 3. How many of the squad were not born the last time that Scotland qualified for a major tournament?
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so this is where you need to do a bit of maths here.
Give me that one again, just to give me context.
So Scotland qualified for the Euros this summer. How many of that team that were selected, that squad that were selected, were not born the last time that Scotland qualified for a major tournament? So, not born the last time that Scotland played at the World Cup '98. I'll give you that as an easier question.
Oh, I just noted that down. I was working it out that way. Give it their help.
And I'll give you a bonus point if you can name those players as well.
Oh, God.
Cheapers, this is tricky.
I have to say, I did this quiz with producer Paul earlier, and he was actually very good at it, so you're lucky he's not on tonight.
Yeah, dear.
I've written a number, but I'm not going for bonus points. No.
I'm actually trying to write the players to try and help me a little bit here.
Okay, another 10 seconds and we'll move on.
I haven't got a clue here.
Oh,
Okay.
it's good to see you all struggling. Question number 4. There is 6 questions in this round, so we're halfway through. Steve Clarke led that side to the Euros in the summer, and Craig Brown was the last manager to take us to a major tournament, that being France '98. Which manager, between the two that is just previously mentioned, has spent the most amount of time in charge of the national side? So between Steve Clarke and Craig Brown, which manager has lasted the longest in the Scotland job?
Well, it's one of two, I think.
Don't do a Mr. Smith Grant.
It's every man for himself, David. It's every man for himself.
Oh,
We good?
I think so.
This one is my favourite question of the quiz. Question number 5. Pelly the Elephant is the mascot of which SPFL side?
Oh, for goodness sake.
Pelly the Elephant.
You should Premiership
are-
side.
No, just SPFL.
You are joking me.
What a name, Pelly the Elephant.
Cheapers. I don't pay attention to club mascots. Maybe I should.
Well.
I will have a big stab in the dark. Mind you, I've done that with every question so far. Colin sees a lot of lower league teams. He'd probably do well with that.
I think he's got it. He's looking confident here.
I've
Yeah.
just had a bit of inspiration. It's probably
Ah.
totally wrong, but
And finally, the last question of the round. Question 6. Station Park is the home ground of which SPFL side?
Finally, I've got one I know.
Station Park is the home ground of which SPFL side?
David, you have to get this.
Well, of course, I used to obviously work there.
That is the basketball equivalent of a slam dunk for you.
Well, I thought it'd be good if we all get at least 1 point in that round.
Yeah,
So,
well.
if you are ready, we will go through the answers to round number 1. Question 1. Celtic Park has the biggest capacity in Scottish football, but which team has the smallest capacity? I'll go with you first, Grant.
I hadn't a clue here, so I said Elgin City.
Elgin City. David?
Well, I said my answer, but I'll be Rovers.
And Colin?
I went at East Fife.
The correct answer is Edinburgh City.
Ooh.
Meadowbank only has a capacity of 500 now.
I was in the right league.
You'd
was
City.
right.
You'd
I
City.
was. Well, I don't know. I should get half a point there.
Question number 2. How many of the current Scottish Premiership teams have never been relegated? We'll start with Colin this time.
I went 2.
2. David?
I think it's 2, yeah.
I've got 3.
Right. Give me your 3, Grant.
Aberdeen, Celtic, and Rangers.
So this is the contentious one. I'll give you it for both 2 and 3. Because some would say that this is a new information of Rangers and they have never been relegated. If you say that they're the same team, they were relegated. Depending on what your beliefs are, you get the points. So either 2 or 3. I'll give you that for both.
I actually didn't even think of it that way as well to get to the 3. So okay, fair enough.
Well,
Sloppy. Okay, accept that.
There's a lot of Rangers fans in the comments section tonight, so I don't want to annoy them too much.
I'm going to shut up now.
Question number 3. Scotland qualified for the Euros this summer. How many of the squad were not born the last time that Scotland qualified for a major tournament? David, I'll start with you.
3.
3. Grant?
I've got 4.
Okay. And Colin?
I've got this in total. I went 20.
I think you're just slightly out there, just a wee bit. Grant, I'm interested to hear your 4.
Well, I have Christian Gilmore written down,
So
but it might. But I don't know if there's. Now I think about it, maybe Dykes isn't that young either.
So the correct answer is 3. And it is...
Grant, Christie's my age.
Yeah, Christie's 26, 27.
Oh God, I thought he was a good bit younger than that.
So the 3, if you have written them down for the bonus point, were Nathan Patterson, David Turnbull,
I've got Turnbull down.
and Gilmer.
And Gilmore, I got that as well. Why did I write Christie down? Maybe because I was thinking of it when he was at Aberdeen.
So Curry Muncher comes in to say, we're 6 points above you and you're in 6th place. You'll not bother us too much. So do you know what? That makes my Friday. I'm okay. As long as I don't bother people. I just like to be friends with everyone.
Excellent response on the bottom there. Fantastic.
So, we go to question number 4. And that was in between Steve Clarke and Craig Brown, which Scotland manager has lasted longest in the role. I'll just put it out there. It's Gordon Strachan.
Yes.
Gordon Strachan, 4 years.
Yes, of course it was.
Number 5, Pelly the Elephant is the mascot of which SPFL sides? Grant, I'll start with you.
I haven't a clue on this. I put Airdrieonians.
Airdrie. Colin, you think you've got it?
Dumbarton.
And Dave?
I was going to go for the same.
It is Dumbarton.
Oh, well played, fellas. That's a great answer.
The clue here is that there is an elephant in the badge of Dumbarton. So that's
where so there is.
That's where they get.
So there is. Oh, well played, guys. Tip my hat to the pair of you there.
Basically, what they've done is taken Nelly the elephant and put a P in front of it.
That is very, very well done.
And I think you all have this one. Station Park is the home ground of which side?
Forth Athletic, and it used to be Forth Farmington, my old club, of course.
Forth Athletic is the correct answer. We'll take Forth Farmington either way. Let's see where we are on the board after round 1. Grant, we'll start with yourself.
Well, if we're not going with bonus points, because I got 4 off the Celtic, or the Scotland players, I should say, I've got 3.
3, okay. David?
7, because I got 2 of the bonus points.
Okay, 7. And Colin?
3.
3. So it's David who's leading after round 1. So it'll be interesting to see if you guys are able to come back from that one. Let us know how you got on in the first round in the comments section below, whilst I bring up round 2. I am not used to using this MacBook, so
people laughing at my Christie pick already. I'm sure as one of the people.
I bet there was. I think Christie's almost as old as me. In fact, we've got the Ryan Christie jersey behind us.
Well, that's what drew my inspiration to picking that in the list, Colin.
I'm glad it did, because you got it wrong. Round 2, here we go. So this is all events that have happened this season. So number 1, who are the current top goal scorers in the SPFL this season with 9 goals? And I'm talking about a player here, not a team. So across the whole leagues, who is the top goal scorers? There's 2. If you name either one of them, you'll get the point. So they've scored 9 goals as of today.
Is that all competitions called?
Say that again? No, just in the league. Just in the league.
Just in the league.
Because I think Martin Boyle's already on 11 or something like that. That's across all competitions. So maybe I've given you a clue. Who knows?
What's his face?
I'll give you a clue. They both play in the same league.
Change my answer then.
Ooh, that sort of alters my thinking because I was thinking this guy was in another league to the other one. Okay,
Okay, question number 2.
think about that.
How many of the SPFL 42 managers on the opening day of this season were with their clubs on the final day of last season?
How many?
So, of the 42 managers in the SPFL, how many of them were with their club on the opening day of this season and were also with them on the final day of last season? Now, I'm not talking about if they dropped back into a coaching role; they were the manager of the team at that point.
This is all in the This is all the 42 clubs. Crumbs, I'm writing down all the managers here. Okay.
Dawes took over.
So we've got.
Bit of a difficult one, this one.
Just stabbing in the dark.
I've got quite a few names down here.
Now, remember, guys like David Hopkins don't count because they left after the season started.
Haven't got him down, which is all right.
I'm talking about the guys that led their team out on the opening day of this season, who also led them out on the opening day of last season. Sorry, the final day of last season.
Final day of last season, yeah, I thought that.
I'll let you write that one down and you can come back to it. I'll give you some time at the end of the round because we are fast running out of time.
Yeah,
Question number 3. The Scottish season started on the 9th of July as Celtic faced Dundee United and Edinburgh City faced Hamilton in the Premier Sports Cup. Which of the 4 teams scored the first goal in the Scottish season? And I'll give you a bonus point if you can tell me the goal scorer.
That's the league campaign, not the actual games in the Betfred Cup or the Premier Sports Cup themselves.
No, that is the Premier Sports Cup.
Oh, all right, okay, so it's on that. Ooh, okay. Well, I know whose team. I know which 2 teams won.
So I'll repeat that again. On the 9th of July, the Premier Sports Cup started as Celtic Hearts faced Dundee United and Edinburgh City faced Hamilton. Which of the 4 teams scored the first goal in the Scottish season?
Could hit the bar here.
You've got a 1 in 4 chance of getting this.
Yeah. Well, I know it's a 1 and 2 because I know I can process of elimination, but that makes it worse. Okay.
Question number 4.
I've got an answer.
Question number 4. Rangers won the first Old Firm game of the season. How many games now have they gone without defeat in that fixture?
Oh, no. All right.
I should have said this was a tricky quiz, eh? How many games have Rangers went undefeated against Celtic?
That could be another one off the inside of the post.
Okay, I'll let you write that one down, come back to it. Question number 5. How many of the current SPFL 42 teams remain undefeated in the league as of tonight? So across the 4 leagues, how many teams remain undefeated?
You get bonus points for the teams.
Yeah, I'll give you bonus points for teams.
Okay. It's very kind because I could need them all. It's like hitting a double top instead of a treble 20. You need take everything you can. I think that's them all.
Just waiting on somebody asking Alexa the answers. And finally, the last question of this round. With 5 Scottish teams in European qualifications for the first time in years, how many wins between them all did the teams pick up? So Hibs, Celtic, Rangers, St Johnstone and Aberdeen all qualified for Europe this summer. how many wins did the teams pick up between them in qualifying? David looks very confident. You're on 7 points already, David, aren't you?
Aye.
7. Could this be the round where it all turns around? Let us know when you've got your answers.
I've got an answer, I think. The manager's one is interesting.
One for every question?
Not the manager's one.
Okay, I'll give you 10 seconds and then we do have to move. Winter comes in to say, I just asked Alexa and the reply I got was wire brush and lotion. Better put the Wallies back in.
What have I got down here? Right. Okay.
Are we good?
Yes, I've just got a number now. I've just go with that.
Okay, so I'm conscious of time, so I'll just go through the answers this time out, and you can let me know how many you got. So the top goal scorers in all of the SPFL this season with 9 goals are either David Goodwillie or Rory McAllister, both with 9 goals.
Ooh, wrong league. Interesting.
Question number
You get
2.
a point each for that.
No, just a point for either one.
Of course.
I mean, if there's a £20 involved, then we'll see what happens. Question number 2. How many of the SPFL 42 managers on the opening day of this season were with their clubs on the final day of last season? The correct answer is 31. Which means roughly 25% of managers were replaced this summer.
Well,
An interesting thought.
I
Interesting.
didn't get that anywhere near close to that. I had 18 for that, so nowhere with that.
Oh, that's a lot of managers being replaced then.
Yeah.
33.
I thought
I was straight. I was right.
7.
Not
Yeah.
far off. Not far off.
I should have. I did this totally the wrong way. I should have actually looked at the teams that had kept their managers and took the ones out that back the managers. Go on.
You'll know better for next time then. Come on.
Terrible.
The season started on the 9th of July as Kelty faced Dundee United and Edinburgh City faced Hamilton. Which of the 4 teams scored the first goal of the Scottish season? It was Hamilton Accies.
Yes.
And the goal scorer, if you've got it, was Callum Smith.
Nah, I wouldn't have got that. I knew it was
No.
Hamilton. Yeah.
Anyone get it? No?
I got Hamilton, but I didn't get the team. I didn't get the player.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Hamilton as well.
Rangers won the first Old Firm game. How many games have they now gone without defeat in that fixture? They are undefeated in 7.
Yes. Got that one.
Undefeated in 7. How many of the current SPFL 42 teams remain undefeated in the league as of today? It is 3.
Yes. Get in.
The bonus points are for Hearts.
Yeah.
They are for Kelty. And I believe is I've totally forgotten the third one. Can someone remind me? Is it
Queen's Park
Queen's Park.
and Kelty Hearts.
Yep. And finally, the last question of the round, with 5 teams in European qualification for the first time in years, how many wins did they pick up in total? The 5 teams picked up 9 wins.
9 wins, yes, get in.
9 wins. So we'll go for the scores just before we go into our last round. Grant, how are you getting on?
Let me tally this up first because I'm kind of back in here. I've got 7.
7. So what were we on?
That
David?
gives me a total of 10, by the way. Should say
Total
that.
of 10. Okay, David, how are you going?
Does the bonus point count for the question 5? Aye.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Aye. So with that in mind, it'll be 7.
So you're on 14.
Yep.
And Colin?
Yeah, 7 as well on 10.
So that's on 10. So David is still the man to chase down as we go into our final round.
Very even round there, gents.
Yeah, everybody done fairly well there. Even some good answers in the comments section as well. So this last one is Guess the Year. And there is 6 seasons. So I'm looking for you to tell me the season in question. You will be given 4 clues. The first clue is who won the Scottish Premiership that year. The second clue is who won the Scottish Cup. The third clue is who was the top goal scorer. And the fourth clue is who was the Scotland manager. So hopefully that should narrow it down for you.
Okay,
So,
right.
the first question in this year, or in this season, the league champions were Rangers, the Scottish Cup winners were Rangers, the top goal scorer was Henrik Larsson with 28 goals, and the Scotland manager was Bertie Vogts. So I'm looking for the season.
Bertie, good God. I'm between 2 years, but I think I've got something here.
So Rangers won both the league and the Scottish Cup. Henrik Larsson was the top goal scorer with 28, and Bertie Vogts was the Scotland manager. So the season we're looking for here. Okay. Question number 2. In this season, the league champions were Celtic. The Scottish Cup was won by Hearts. The top goal scorer was Gary Hooper with 24 goals, and the Scotland manager was Craig Levein. So Celtic won the league. Hearts won the cup. Gary Hooper was the top goal scorer, and the Scotland manager was Craig Levein. David's shaking his head there. He's not happy at all.
No, it's a Hearts thing. I'm a bit unsure about.
Oh, come on, you must get it from that, surely.
Question number 3. The league champions this year were Rangers. They also won the Scottish Cup. The top goal scorer was Henrik Larsson with 29, and the Scotland manager was Craig Brown.
Oh.
So Rangers won both the league and the Scottish Cup. Henrik Larsson was the top goal scorer, and the Scotland manager was Craig Brown.
This is going to be like Ken Bruce's Popmaster here. 1 year out. I've got an answer, by the way.
Okay. Let's go for question number 4. The league champions this year were Celtic. The Scottish Cup winners were Rangers. The top goal scorer was Scott McDonald with 25 goals. And Scotland had 2 managers in this season, Alex McLeish and George Burley.
Oh, crumbs. Oh, when was that?
So the league champions were Celtic, the Scottish Cup winners were Rangers, top goal scorer was Scott McDonald, and the Scotland managers that year were McLeish and Burley.
That seems. Scottish Cup.
So we've got 2 more to go. Number 5, the league champions were Celtic. The Scottish Cup was won by Hibs. The top goal scorer was Lee Griffiths with 31 goals. And the Scotland manager is Gordon Strachan.
Easy.
You say that and you could have easily got it wrong. Overconfidence there.
You think so? Interesting.
I don't know. I'm just trying to psych you out. League champions are Celtic. Scottish Cup won by Hibs. Top goal scorer was Griffiths with 31. And the Scotland manager was Gordon Strachan. Okay, and the final question of the quiz. I'd just like to thank everyone who has taken part. The league champions were Celtic. The Scottish Cup was won by Hearts. The top goal scorer was Marco Negri with 32 goals. And Scotland manager was Craig Brown.
It's a sad state of affairs when every league champion's been Celtic or Rangers.
Correct.
That was the way it was going to be, wasn't it? There was not. I could have went
Unless
a
you,
wee bit further back.
I was about to say you could go back to the early 80s.
Well, I need to save it for the next international break.
I should know that because I've seen the even poster. My guidance teacher is a Hearts fan, and it was in his office, and I should know this. I'm gonna get stick for that. Right, I've got an answer.
Let's go for the answers now. Question number 1: the league champions or Rangers also won the Scottish Cup. The top goal scorer was Larsson with 28. The Scotland manager was Bertie Vogts. The season we were looking for was 2002-2003.
Yes, great start.
Question
Great
2:
start.
the league champions were Celtic. The Scottish Cup was won by Hearts. The top goal scorer was Gary Hooper with 24 goals, and the Scotland manager was Craig Levein. The season we were looking for was 2011-2012.
I've got 2012 written down there.
Question number 3: the league champions were Rangers. The Scottish Cup was also won by Rangers. The top goal scorer was Henrik Larsson with 29, and the Scotland manager was Craig Brown. The season we are looking for is 1998-99.
Oh, the wrong season.
One close.
1 year out. There we go.
That's more my era. That's why I got it.
Let's just wait and see if that comes back to bite you later on. Question 4: league champions are Celtic. Scottish Cup was won by Rangers. The top goal scorer was Scott McDonald, and the Scotland managers were Alex McLeish and Craig Burley. The year we were looking for is 2007-2008.
Yes.
That's 3 that I've got wrong, but I've got the 1 year out. Unbelievable.
That's really harsh. That's really harsh.
Question number 5: the league champions were Celtic. The Scottish Cup was won by Hibs. Top goal scorer was Lee Griffiths with 31 goals, and the Scotland manager was Gordon Strachan. And since Grant was so confident, we'll get him to give us the answer.
2016.
2015-16.
16, that's what I was meaning, yeah.
Yeah, you got that one.
Because I'm actually going on YouTube later to watch the highlights again. So any Rangers fans tuning in might want to leave after this.
That is so rude. There've been nothing but nice to us tonight. Finally, question number 6, the last question of the quiz. The league champions were Celtic. The Scottish Cup was won by Hearts. The top goal scorer was Marco Negri with 32, which he actually got before January. And then
That's right.
he had an eye injury because of a squash match, I believe, which was incredible. And the Scotland manager was Craig Brown. The year we were looking for was 1997-98.
98, yes, I got that one. Phew, relief.
So
Not bad,
let's see who has won tonight's quiz and can take home the inaugural State of Scottish Football quiz champion. Grant, we'll start with yourself. What was your final score on the door?
Well, it was a brave effort. I had got to 10 points, and in that last round I got 5 out of 6. So I finished with 15.
15, well done. David?
4 out of 6 there, which makes it 18.
18. So Colin, we need a big massive turnaround here. What did you finish on?
I got 3 for that one, so I'm on the 13.
13. So that means tonight's winner and the first ever State of Scottish Football quiz champion is David. David, you have your 30 seconds to gloat.
Yeah, no, absolutely delighted. But I mean, I've got some stiff competition from Grant and Colin there, so that's all I have to say. But better luck next time, gents.
Well, it has been a pleasure coming to you live here from State of Mind Studios. It's been great speaking with everybody in the chat. We're just having a joke with everyone. Nobody takes it any serious. It's great just to be talking about Scotland. Looking forward to the big game tomorrow night where hopefully everyone can get behind Steve Clarke and the boys and we will bring 3 points back home. Thank you to everyone who's watching. We will be back on Monday to dissect the Scotland performance. Until then, stay safe, take care, and we will see